Okay. Hi, this is Allison here with Jupiter Moons. And is this a cosmic joke? Yes, it is.
Hi, everybody. So we're going to start with the energy updates for today.
Hmm.
I would say well, for me anyways, it's pretty nice.
Good.
Very magical, flowing very much in 0 point the whole time, staying present, staying in the now. That's definitely what I've been feeling today. So that's for me, what's coming in.
That's good. I was like that through the last one and you weren't, so we keep switching back and forth. Okay.
I know my mental body was like, going, screaming.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I know, and now we're switched. So we're done. So do you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, I can do that. It's been the physical body painful, excruciating week for me. And it is interesting because it's like whatever the waves are that gets kicked up within each individual it's so individual. And it's like we can't judge each other, or gauge what we're doing by what we see in others. And I think that's something really important that you and I have seen. It doesn't mean one's ahead of another, one's behind another. It's like this is just in where I am in my flow of what I'm doing. And that's where you are. So
it's at the evolutionary process. It also depends, where do you need more work at?
Exactly.
Too. So if you're someone that sticks in your head all the time, like me, who's a constant thinker and analyzer and was a worrier.
What?
Worrying about everybody else, the planet, the event, the universe, solar system, all just sitting there. That's kind of being in your head all the time. So that's what they mean by dropping into your heart, going into the 0 point, staying in the present and now. So my mental body and my emotional body is what needed the most work. The physical body got handled in 2017. that's where mine locked up. So wow.
The physical this week was at the hip level, which we know that we've got the new upgrades, we've got the new systems coming online, and we recognize, okay, on either side of the root chakra is the new points that are opening up. Well, for me, and whatever reason, it really was like, that big machine, that the forklift with the two pokes that, picks things up. Well, it missed, and it poked left and right center right into my hips. And it's been interesting. It has been interesting. Tons and tons of tears, to the point where when your body's locked up, you can't move. I couldn't lift a leg. So it was like, and I couldn't even bend over to reach down to pick up my own leg to walk. I mean, it was comical, but painful like you wouldn't believe. And it was interesting through the process because, again, I'm going, okay, thank you, through tears, crying, going, I know this is bigger than just what it appears like. And it has been absolute mastery. This week has been, for me, all about absolute mastery. Yes, I remember to do self-healing. Yes, I remember to constantly to be able to work on myself, knowing I understand, I would do this for anybody else. I'm doing it for me. The things that would come up were interesting, like we talked about yesterday, where it would be a fleeting thought, memory, or some just random something that would come up. And in the midst of the tears of the pain, a lot of this stuff was coming up. And yet I was completely devoid of any emotions. Yes. There wasn't any emotional attachment. It was the coolest but strangest thing going, I have no emotions. I just have pain, release, and nothing, just nothing. It was just that white nothing. Hard to describe. But in the physical body thing where, like, honestly, it takes, 12 feet to the bathroom, maybe? My body was so shut down that I would have to try, not even inches, centimeter by centimeter. What muscle can I move that wasn't as painful to then engage this next muscle? And it was weird. It was as though I was attempting, or I had to tell my body how to move. what to do. And it was like I was in so like a, I don't know, robot's not the right word, but it was so weird on having to go, okay, I've got to have just the right alignment to do this, just to take a step forward. And it would take, you know, a dozen tries to be able just to move my foot, you know, a baby step forward, to the point that to get the 12 feet, to get back, I don't know how long it took me to get there, but from the time I was coming back, it took 45 minutes for me to walk about 12 feet, which is, I mean, it was just excruciating. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was just like, wow, here I am actually having to tell my body what to move, how to move, and trying to do it without the pain. I know I'm not explaining it well enough, but it was a bizarre thing of like, my body is seriously offline right now, in pain, but it is offline. And then the next, it's a little better now. I'm still not completely able to move. I can't stand up straight yet. You know, it's like, this is really weird. But there is, it's forced me, obviously, which I'm sure that's probably already the point, to stop. You know, as I've got things that I need to work on, that I want to work on, and it's just forced me to stop and just rest. And I am. The biggest thing yesterday that was a strange epiphany through all of this, we've talked about being our authentic selves and the importance of being exactly who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last 24 hours, I think partly because of the pain, there was like a zero tolerance for anything other than this, and this. You know, it was like, I'm just speaking authentically me. I don't have the ability, the wherewithal to go anything less than just me. This is all I've got. 3 people within this last 24 hours, 2 have responded like, all right. They took it on, they looked at themselves, and they were ready to make some changes. And the third was just like, you know, not happy, angry, you know, coming back at me with whatever. And I went, okay, but what's the importance here? The importance is, and it made me see how many times in my life are there people where I'm more considerate of their feelings, how they're going to feel, how they're going to react, instead of actually just giving them truth of my authentic self. So in essence, I've been denying who I am just to try to make you okay with what I have to say. And it was like, wow, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just not going to do that anymore. And it was funny because we deal in different realms, obviously, than your normal, not normal, your everyday person. I'll put it that way. And I sat back and I went, you know what? I feel like a science professor. I really do. Because if someone, or when someone asks for assistance or advice, and I go through and I can see, okay, it's this, and this. This is what's needed. This needs to be cleaned. This needs to be gotten rid of. Because if you're wanting to create alchemy and you're wanting an outcome, I'm telling you, you know, you need this, and this. And if you turn around and go, well, you said I have to use mercury and this to make it whatever, and I don't believe in mercury and I don't think it's right or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but you asked for the formula. Do you want the formula of what I see, or do you not?
Yeah.
And it was so cool. I was like, wow, look what pain has done for me in showing me the value, even for myself, of if I know this is the alchemical equation or formula to create abundance, to create, you know, happiness, joy, lack of pain, whatever it is, am I willing to use those ingredients in a proper manner and get rid of the ones I don't? Or am I going to keep going, no, I don't want to get rid of this ingredient, it's got to go in there somewhere, and continue making a mess? I mean, it's like bad science experiment. That is our lives over and over. Am I willing to dump the old chemicals that don't apply anymore? Or am I just going to be, nope, I own them, so I need to use them?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I am hoping No. Today I am pain free. Because I found myself going, oh, tomorrow, I won't be in pain tomorrow. And I said, oh no. Again, calling myself on this stuff. Today I am pain free. Because I'm not going to keep pushing it out any further.
No, it's already done.
It is done. It is done.
It's already done. It's just amazing during the ascension process what the physical body has to go through.
Yes.
Because I remember in 2017, it was horrible. That's when me and you we just basically started talking, and I'm like, something is really wrong. It was after the major eclipse, and it was probably about a week afterwards is where I got hit hard. And I told you, like, I remember I was laying in bed, and if it wasn't for me actually hearing my counsel, like, all my organs shut down. I could feel it. And I was like, all my organs are shutting. Like, I remember like trying to breathe, and it was just the most craziest feeling I ever felt. And then it just rebooted. But when it rebooted, it was horrible for like 2 weeks. I couldn't sleep because the alignment, because you're talking about your hips, my whole spinal cord, not only the neurological system like that happened to me, which me and you talked about, that was a complete mess between vision and everything else. And then also all the way down to the middle where my heart chakra and the opening is, just complete pain all the way down to my hand. I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for almost a week because I was in so much pain all the way down my spinal cord. And I was just, it was horrible, and I couldn't see everything. The rooms were spinning, the rooms were flipped, like, just the neurological, which they say is vertigo, but that was way more than vertigo. Like, that was like a whole new system like going on, and I was in sheer panic. The whole time, sheer panic, crying, talk about beyond ego deaths for almost like months, and then couldn't get out of bed for almost 4 months, and then being drained. So, and then I went to every single doctor, got CAT scans and everything else, and they couldn't find not one thing wrong with me. They're like, you're actually very healthy. I'm like, I can't even see straight, but okay. I was like,
whatever you say.
Whatever you say. So it's the upgrading of the physical body is intense. It is extremely intense. So for you, it's the root and the hips, which we already know that because I've worked on you.
Yeah.
And we talked about that if that's what was going to get hit hard, it would probably be that area. But the new system, you're going on to a new system. So when I went to go look, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this new system we're going on. Let's talk about this beautiful crystal grid that they're just sitting there going, oh, look at you guys. You guys are doing so well in your evolution. Let's go. We're going to put you onto a new system with these, with these crystal grids. And, oh my God. So when I went to go look at you, I was like, wow, this is a whole new system of me just remembering the system. So you're just remembering, which we said, because I was saying that I didn't know the system. But I do know the system because when I went in, I was like, oh, I know how to fix this. But at first I was like, what is this? I was like, what am I seeing? What am I accessing? So it's a crystal grid system. So I had to sit there and I was like, okay, now I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to fix and get everything rotating again in that area where the hips are. Because I knew it was your points opening up right away. Those are the 2 meridian points. So I knew right away what exactly it was. But when I went to go look, I saw a whole new system and I was like, she's getting put onto something completely new right now. And I was like, uh-oh. So I was sitting there, doing what I knew what to do, my remembering of this system that I'm downloading now, which is it's all crystals. It's all crystal grids. And then it has to do with accessing our Stargate, which is so cool. It's beautiful. But you're more technical because I'm more visual and energy, so you can go into the details of it.
Well, and I should, how do I say this? I can draw these things out. I mean, how long ago was it that I sat and I colored it all out and drew it all out and put all the points and did the representation of colors and what it looked like, going, oh, this is pretty. I should have figured that meant that it was going to be coming online, but I didn't. But now I will in the future remember such a thing. And yeah, the visions of it, because we've talked about, we have, the physical body, mental body, etheric body, and it keeps going out from there, 20 some that we know of currently, which I know that there's more.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that I was seeing them is, not only is each a band of energy, each band is at a different frequency, it has different operating system, it has a different way of moving, its own speed. It's like, some will go this way, some will go this way. I mean, it's like the big huge Stargate thing where you've got, all these beautiful things going in all kinds of directions.
Mm-hmm.
The points between each body, because I remember when I went to draw it, I was like, me, symmetrical, everything was like, okay, it has to be here to here, all pretty, so that it looks all even when I'm done. And I became so aggravated in it because I'm like, this isn't like lining up all pretty and perfect. And my crew, of course, just kind of laughs at me and says, no, because they're not. Not all systems have, 12 connection points, like the old operators where you poke, plug it in and go, okay, here's your number. Each system has more or less. Some have, 5 or 6, and others have hundreds of connection points. And so when I had started looking at someone and seeing the connection point that goes from this body to this one, and like sometimes it's 2 cords and, 1 into 2 or 1 into 3, and plugging in and connecting body to body. It's beautiful. It's confusing from the standpoint of going, how would we ever be able to master that? How would we ever know the proper, plugs to plug us all in? And yet we've both plugged it in, we've both programmed that into our Merkabas. I mean, that it kind of does the basics for us until we're aware of what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, also our crew.
Yes.
Because they were putting me onto that system probably about, I don't even know because of quantum time I'm on, but I think maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And I'm like, Allison, they're doing something with all these crystals, some type of grid. And I'm watching them just sitting there, realign them, which is, obviously my avatar selves, because they're a lot of our highest council is us anyway. So sitting there just completely like fix it. Oh, we got to fix this. Yeah. Let's go in and let's rearrange and let's get her onto this new system. They're like, you're just going on to a new system. Everything's going to be okay. And I'm like, okay. Something they mentioned, they just like, we're sitting here as you were talking. They were like, the solar system. Think about your solar system. Okay. Yeah. The solar system that we know of, which is, not 100% accurate, but, so anyway, what they're just showing is like, how there's planets that have like, all these different moons or like 100 moons. Okay, so when you were explaining that, they're like every planet has different number of moons. So think of that's literally just exactly what you were saying. It's like a whole, not everything is completely the same. Is what they were saying.
Different speed, different. All of it's different.
Yep.
Within us.
Yes. And they're like, it's kind of like the way that they're showing, they're like, it's your solar system. It's your own solar system. And then your universe, but they're like, it's your universe. Just think about what your universe, think about the solar system and then the universe. And I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. That's amazing. Okay, cool. Just a little pictures, because they'll just start, they start showing me images and pictures of what it is. So yeah, it's just beautiful. So it's okay. So when I do that, they're relaying information to me. Obviously, they're explaining we are going, which we already know this. We're going back on to basically they call it the new human, but it's the galactic human. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. We're going back onto this system. You can call it galactic. That could just be, it's a label. But right. We're going back to our original blueprint. So our original blueprint, of course, is going to have a completely different system.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we've had them offline for so many thousands, hundred thousands of years or whatever it is. And when they show that the human body has deteriorated, it's not the right word, but the manipulation and all of the different things that have happened to it, it's been quite a journey to try to get the physical form back up into a place where it can accept this.
Yes.
And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, okay, well, great, but why do I have to be, thrown into this first before everybody else gets it? But we've learned a lot. I mean, we really, between us, can just about assist and counsel anybody on anything that happens, because we've covered it all.
So far.
So far.
Don't say all. Now I'm going, like, within a month, I'm going to be like, I don't know.
Okay, before that and better.
Teleporting in my sleep or something, and then I'm like, Allison, you got to come get me. I don't know where I am. In a completely different dimension. So let's not say we know it all.
Yeah, I don't have to experience it all.
Because once they say that, they're like, oh, really? The guinea pigs effect, I call it.
Yeah, the lack of emotions has been awesome, I'll have to say, because I have cried. There has been a releasing, but there is no attachment. There is just not emotional attachment to stories or things, or, I mean, it's really so liberating and so freeing to be able to say, wow, I have really unplugged from that aspect of what was considered human, because we don't know. We're starting to know, but the things that people go, oh, well, that's just, the way humans are. No, it's not.
No.
That's what humans have become, and that's what's being acted out and displayed in horrible ways. That is not the true human.
No, it's not. What is the point of the ascension process, besides the ascension in the physical body and what we're experiencing? It's also becoming a fully conscious again.
Yes.
Which, with all the manipulations and everything, basically, that has happened for thousands of years, which we can always get into another time, we are learning where we are unconscious at. That way we can become fully conscious once again. Because it was not like this, and it really wasn't. Pain and suffering, honestly, did not exist. We were there's a lot of things that didn't exist, but we're becoming fully conscious. Fully conscious beings, and we are moving into a beautiful era. And I do 100% believe in the new earth. Now, the new earth and what they call heaven on earth is actually within. Mm-hmm. It's within us. It's unlocking that within us. But as far as the external, I really do believe there are going to be massive changes that are going to be coming right now. And there's a lot of humanitarians that are going to really step in and start making really big moves. As far as, and I'm seeing it. Like I'm definitely able to see it. Now, I did go, you're going to think this is funny. I went last night and I said, I want to talk, and I'm hoping this really isn't in 3 months, but I said, I want okay, I'm not trying, okay, that might be the ego, but still, I was sitting, I want to see my future self in 3 months. Well, when I went to sleep, I'm with you. Okay, and I think it's in the Amazon, which it could just be us doing work on the plane, but we're out there healing people. And then somehow there's like this, I just was sitting there with you, and there's this like some type of structure hut, very old looking hut. And I don't think it's another time. It's definitely, it's there. And I just knew it was the Amazon. It ended up falling over on us, and we're like, oh my God, like, how are we going to get out of this? But I saw us, I know. I was sitting there going, what did we do? And you're just like, oh, come on. And then we end up, of course, probably, it is in my dream, but it's multidimensional, right?
Exactly.
So you know what we're doing. We're sitting there, portal jumping probably. And you're like, okay, let's go here. And then we're actually sitting there working on people. So I don't know. I'm guessing there's people that have been really affected out there, because what I was seeing was actually smoke inhalation. And that's something that we were we were being brought in to heal, but these natives were actually out there healing the natives, which I thought that was interesting. So then I woke up and I was like, I don't know in 3 months if that's what it's, if that's the future. It was really cool because I saw this man sitting there just levitating like off the ground, and I thought that I woke up and was like, yeah, that's a cool dream. I was like, but it's not really a dream. It's us working. We were working together. We were doing like massive work, but I just was like,
well, it brings
that's what I don't know if that's what we're supposed to do. Are they, you know?
Well, yeah, but not necessarily in the physical, but because it brings to mind what months ago, I don't know, forget time, before, when I was working with the inner earths, and a lot of, I mean, seeing some, empty, beautiful places that were intricately carved out of the stone. It looked like an entire neighborhood with, fountains and benches, but it was vacant and empty. And I remember thinking, well, this is kind of strange. It's beautiful. I'm glad I'm here. But it makes me wonder there, which I'll work on tonight, of calling in some of our underground friends, helpers, benevolent light beings to assist, and maybe even pull some underground if necessary to assist with the healing. So I don't see a reason why we can't ask and do that as well.
I've been being pulled into the inner earth lately.
Yes.
Beings coming and actually communicating with me. I had a being come last night, and it came as a child, beautiful blonde, but it wasn't a child. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You right away, and it was coming towards me through my third eye, and of course I sit there, I'm like, you hold it right there. That's what I was like, because at first I was like, if I can see you, I'm aware of you, I want to know where you come from, why are you coming to me? But it was beautiful, and you know what it made me think of right away was Lemuria. Apparently they look like children because they're small. They are dimensional beings, and they're in a different dimension, but they do kind of look like children, but they're not children. And it was beautiful with gold hair and blue eyes. And then I ended up having the dream with you, because my counsel told me, they're like, calm down for a minute. And then I sat there and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I think I've heard about this type of being. So what is it that you want? That's like, and then I ended up knocking out and then having the dream with you. So, and it was a community. It was, there really wasn't anyone there, but we were, of course, doing work. We were healing. We were just doing massive healing.
Alchemy. Again, this science project thing, there's something about it, which it's like, that's like the second or third time now that it's come up for me on that. And really seeing, since that one experience where I was sitting under an apple tree, and I can remember questioning, I was in male form, I'm watching myself, and I was watching my male form, is what I should say, under an apple tree. And I remember saying, why is there an apple tree here? And it was like, my response to myself was, oh, because it's comforting and you like it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then it disappeared, of course. But the me was going through every element combination. I mean, it was watching it in front of, watching me, watching this whole thing. And it was like, I would pull an element, and I would put them together, and it was as though I'd say, okay, this is what happens when you mix those two. And keeping mental note, it was new. I knew every single combination. I knew every single outcome. I knew all of it. And then it was like on to the next and on to the next. And it was just constantly mixing things together to see what would happen. What is the creation? How is creation done?
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember questioning, like, well, how long have I been doing this? And of course, the answer is there is no time. It's always been. And I'm like, So for it coming up again lately, of just coming into my reality of awareness, I'm like, okay, so I've got those skills somewhere. I've got that ability somewhere. And that's the next thing, when I'm able to not be in pain, maybe, to research and look into.
To start looking into it. Yeah. We're given, which there is no time.
Right.
So it kind of me asking to see myself in 3 months that's just ridiculous. But it was just because of what we were talking about last night on the phone. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So let me see it. So this and so everything simultaneously
Yes.
happening at once, which is, oh man.
So that 3 months from now actually happened 6 months ago. So we're good. We did it.
Exactly. Everything's already done. But I'm like, well, want to make sure it's the right timeline because we're running on thousands of timelines too. And when you're actually able to see that, it's just, oh, crazy. And then, like I'm my third eye, I'm rubbing it. Or third eyes because there's more than one on this.
Yes.
Not
Oh, mine's not showing up today. Good, yeah.
I saw 6 one time. I was like, whoa, hello eyes. I look like a bug. No, I remember when I saw that, and then when you start seeing the light bodies where you actually see the eyes, never mind. And I'm like, I'm gonna pretend like I don't see it. So we're able, so like I was telling you about the dimensions intertwining, okay? We were talking about that because I do want to bring that up if anybody's seeing anything, like where you're not used to seeing all these, different maybe dimensional beings, or like actually seeing in the other dimension that there's that's another thing that I'm seeing and I'm actually noticing that there's people in other dimensions.
Yes. Plants, bugs, animals.
Plants, everything. Yes. And I'm actually seeing this and I'm like, whoa, where I can see I'm, over here, and I can see, like I saw, I thought I saw a car turn today, and I knew right away. I was like, oh, that car is it's in a different dimension. And I was just like, I'm just going to pretend like I didn't see him. But I'm able to start seeing it. And then you start seeing people like in the other dimensions, but you're in this dimension. And then the dimensional beings that we were talking about, different dimensional beings where I'm seeing them like silhouette form. I mean, it's just,
Which is
to me, it's amazing because we're seeing more. And we're seeing the plasmas. I mean, I was seeing that for years, since like 2012, 2013, the energies and the plasmas and everything in the air. And I'd just be sitting there at night going, this is so cool. But now it's like a whole nother ball game.
Those are programmed particles that, yes, I am creating with.
Yes.
On the multidimensionality of things, being able to see some of that more now also makes me wonder if beings, for lack of another term, are actually also venturing out into our space, is why we're seeing more of them. And it's as though the veils become so thin that each dimensional self is really exploring and going out. I think the weirdest thing I saw, though, was like out of the corner of my eye, I saw I thought it was like a bee or a bug or something like this big around, which of course like freaked me out. And I watched it like in front of me, like fly, and then it got to like some imaginary point that wasn't there, and all of a sudden it was gone. It didn't like go past that point. And I'm like, thank you for going back into your own time and space, because I was not.
Can't be in here. The different bugs. Oh my God.
I wasn't.
I've ever seen it go, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? Like, what is? And then there's sometimes where I just sit there, we just walk right through it and just we're like,
yeah,
I see you.
Thank you for staying over there. That's fine.
And then through the doorways, they're really showing through the doorway now, going like this, peeking say hi, and I'm like, I can see you. And they're like, yeah, we know. That's why we're saying hi, like to you. And then some of them, I don't think that they can see us.
That's what I think too.
So it depends on a vibrational. Some of them, they just can't see you. I noticed that too, because I've seen them just walk by and not be able to see. So.
Well, one thing I'm noticing through this pain, week that I've had, is we have to really stop and remember about sound vibration. I think, you know, we talk about light, talk about all these other things, and it's like I've really found sound vibration has made some difference. You know, pulling up the right frequencies, or listening to music. And it was funny because my crew was showing me, they're like, listen to the music that flows. Not that, you know, we can't listen to rock music or whatever music that we want, but those are very jagged,
Mm-hmm.
edged, you know, and that has an effect within your bodies. And if we are not in a place was, you know, energetically that we can maintain and hold our frequency, all that's doing is just chopping it up, chopping it up, chopping it up, and really causing distress and havoc was inside the physical forms. And I was like, makes sense why they pushed some really crappy music throughout the last generations, because it
Mm-hmm.
completely distorts your system. It does not allow peace. It does not allow that connection to flourish.
To relax.
Exactly. So it was talking again. I do love classical music. I used to play, you know, classical music, violin, years ago. So I have an affinity towards it. And some people may not, but at least find a slower or a softer instrumental mental that flows and is not choppy for as much time, I guess, as you can in a day, until you can master your own energetic system.
Yes. So it's basically sound color, tones and symbols.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll look more into it, but that's definitely what
I've heard.
we're moving back into. Sound healing, Tibetan bowls,
Yes.
amazing.
And light therapy at the same time.
Yes.
You're mixing your sound and your light frequencies, and then if you add in, you know, your sacred geometry or symbols, that's our total healing.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, because a lot of times, you know, when you look back to the ancient cave drawings, those would have been extremely healing, because you've got the color, you have the symbology, you have the, you know, the drumming, the whole thing, and it's like, wow, they knew how to heal each other, and we've
Yes.
gotten so far from that.
Song of Spheres. Song of Spheres is another thing
Yeah.
that I've been studying too.
Yes.
That's basically, in a sense, what we are going back onto. It's actually they used it also for creation manifestation too,
Yes.
during the Ascension mechanics. But what they're explaining, I mean, we can get into that. I want to research a little bit more before I actually talk about it, but what they're explaining is there's so much manipulation, distortions, that it all just got shut down.
Correct.
We don't have access to it anymore because it was abused. That's why. And it was used for things that for destruction, basically. And that's where a lot of the falls of the Marian Atlantis, Atlantises,
Yes.
there's more than one. That's what they're explaining. We are getting it back. We are realizing little by little, we are getting the symbols and the tones back, little by little, but it's not going to be 100% right now because it'll be abused.
Exactly.
So,
Which falls along the lines where some people have said, you know, I've lost my gifts. I can't
mhm.
do what I was doing. I don't know how, what's going on, what happened to me. And a lot of that has to do with our abilities within the old system, and how they worked just aren't viable anymore. You can't do it. It just doesn't work. Again, it's that alchemical
Yep.
energy flow of it. And unless you have learned to master and produce that energetic frequency wave within yourself, they're gone. That's just the way that it is. They're not gone, but you're not currently bringing them forth within yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it is that point of, we are that universe. We have to stand on our own, in our own power, in our own frequency, having complete and total use of all the frequency that is us. And then, as we're seeing these new gifts, attributes, rememberings, and all the rest of it are just continually coming online. And
Yes.
it's not that, our guides are going, oh, well, you're being bad, you can't have them. It's just, I'm not in alignment with the way that works. And it's like they're no longer saying, well, in kindergarten, we let you color outside the lines. It's like, you should have learned by now. and you're going to have to figure it out, and you're going to have to stand in your own frequency to be able to have this come back online again.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
is back to where, like, when I started, I'm like, I'm really to this, I want to be authentic, just me. And I don't purposely intend to hurt people or offend people. But when their guides, my guides, their higher self, or whom else is saying, you need to tell them, get rid of this, do this, that's my responsibility. I mean, it is.
Well, there's soft love, and there's tough love. And it's not, and we're not talking about the 3D. I'm talking, there's the higher, of way we're taught that you do at a certain point have to tell someone like it is if they keep asking the questions over and over again, and they're not going to want to hear it. A lot of people have told me, so it's, I'm able to take it and be like, okay, I'll go look at that. But I don't really get that anymore because I have a whole crew of beings that tell me like it is, and will sit there and tell me, literally,
like, whether you want to hear it or not. Yeah.
Especially if I'm really not listening, they will be aggressive and pull the rug underneath my feet and be like, okay, well, now I'll get you to listen. Now you like, aren't you?
Exactly. And you have the choice not to listen, but yeah,
they can't interfere. Okay, yeah, I was saying they are correcting what they can't interfere on our lessons,
right?
Okay, because our lessons are for the highest of the highest learning experience. We also have free will too, because it's something that they're explaining too. But mine are just, in a sense, me and my higher forms too. Some of them aren't. Some of them are actually very, galactic beings. But once you get into super consciousness, we're all one anyways, yada, yada, yada. I asked my crew to come with me. Yes. So if I am falling way off kilter, I am sure that my highest, 18-dimensional self was like, yeah, get in there and move her this direction. Tell her like it is. Her human self, because that's what my higher self will tell me all the time, that you're just in your human self ego right now. You need to move out of this to realign me on my highest path. And that's what they are going to do, because I asked for this assistance coming in here. I asked to be waken up at the time that I was woken up in full throttle. I might be kicking and screaming and crying like a baby, sometimes for years, or wanting to go back home, or, whatever. But they came with me, and if I'm going way off kilter, then, I want them to move in,
whatever and whomever and however it needs to be to get the message to me. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that.
Exactly. But we are here on experiences and lessons. So that's, we do have, they acknowledge that, and we do have free will, because I've argued with them about it. Well, I have free will.
Exactly. With my book, that it's funny because it's like, okay, I finally got it done. It's gone through 2 edits. I'm ready to publish and all the rest of it. And then it's like I'm learning a whole new system of what else, like, writing my biography, writing, my all the other stuff that is required. Mm-hmm. And so I went a couple nights ago, I think it was, and I laid down and I'm like, okay, I am going to have a sit down one-on-one with my future self and say, who did you use for publishing? I'm like, I'm going to make this easy on myself, and I'm going to have this discussion. Would not get an answer. Would not be given an answer. And I sat back and I was like, well, this is not fair. And then I realized that there are something within this process of me researching and going through it that I have to learn. That if I was given the answer, to the test question, that I would bypass, like you say, the lesson that I need to learn, or what information or what knowledge or who I need to come across, or I have no idea yet what all of that is. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting that the next morning woke up and was making coffee, and a publisher went through my mind. I went, ooh, hadn't thought of that one. And when I went to look it up, it was a weird thing how it happened, because I'm pulling that one up so I could bookmark it and go through what their requirements are, etc. And a different publisher came up that I hadn't heard of, but yet it had well-known authors that I was like, and so again, I'm thinking, okay, well, that was a strange coincidence on putting me in a direction. So I have both of those up to research and see which one feels right to go in.
Which I think, I told you, I think it's Llewellyn. Because that came through my head as me and you were talking, and I was like, oh, okay. Which is the knowing.
Yeah. That's who it came up with first, yeah, was the Llewellyn. So we'll see.
That's what I heard. So they're just, you're doing great. I'm excited.
Me too. I am too.
I am. I'm excited. I'm getting my website up someday. No. I'm going to
make sure that it happens.
Yeah. I'm learning how to build it.
Good.
But my guys just laughed because I'll just be flowing, and then I'm like, oh God, I have to go research that. And I'm like, I need some grounding. Put me in my ground. I like being high up. Okay, so anyone, who is listening, we have oops, my ear thing came out. Sorry. Something they just wanted to relay around September 9th and then September 14th. We are going to get there's going to be 2 huge ascension waves that are going to be coming through. I'm not actually going to 100% relay what they said, but they said that we are going to be getting smacked. So, all's well. We won't fry, right? No. Okay, that's it.
It will be standing strong and tall by then, yes.
I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? No, kidding. Okay, so what is happening right now is what they're explaining. The reason why we're being upgraded to these new systems. Everyone is having their ascension symptoms differently. Okay, it could be like, for me, it is the mental body and the emotional bodies and my casual bodies. I am clearing for these bodies, and probably, most likely it could go back to the physical body, right? And more other bodies, etheric bodies and templates, the cycle, so on and so on. It's what needs more work. So if you are going through major ascension symptoms at this moment, or your body is locking up, or you're having some of the symptoms that I talked about from 2017, which eventually I will be writing about and getting more into it, or complete insomnia. Okay, that's something else that they're mentioning. If you're not sleeping for almost 2 weeks, because that is a part, that's also another part of ascension. Also, anxiety. Okay, thinking that you're having a heart attack please still go to the doctors or to the hospital. Or heart, the heart palpitations too. That's your heart center expanding, and then the higher heart. Okay, also. So that's the higher heart will be opening. Once that gets ripped open, it's normal, I would say, because we've already talked about this, but it's something they want me to keep going into. They really do want us to keep talking about ascension symptoms during this as well. Always go to the hospital. Please go to the doctors if you feel like anything. Always get checked out. But they're explaining that when this comes open, it feels like you are having a heart attack, heart palpitations, anxiety through the roof. You might not sleep for like a week or longer, because mine at one time was like almost 2 weeks. And insomnia these are things that could be happening to you. Flu-like symptoms, vertigo. Okay, you're not seeing straight too. There are some certain things that will put us into fear base because our human self is not used to it. Now, these are going to be we are going through major upgrades, because when these two ascension waves, because this is what they're explaining, come through, it's not going to fry our system. It's basically what they're relaying. So everything that we are going through and some of us are being put on a new system completely, which is, you can call it the new human system, but it's actually our old original blueprint, and we will keep moving. I just want to fly. So this is what they're explaining, is that this is prep. This is preparing right now. Okay. So September 9th, keep in mind, to the 14th it's going to be heavy. Okay. It depends on where you're at, what you're doing. You know, you can always message or contact us. We're really great at getting anybody through it. And then we're fabulous healers too as well. So we'll do anything to help anybody who is having issues from even now, or you know, for forever basically. But during these two, they're saying September 9th and September 14th. So I want everyone who is listening just to be prepared and write it down. That way you have an idea, because when your system is completely going through the roof, you just have an idea of why it's happening. And there's going to be, the Andromedan Council is explaining to me that there's going to be other people that will start pulling it in too as well, and start talking about it, to start preparing for these 2 dates. So that's something that they are explaining. Another thing, drinking lots of water right now is much needed. You have to drink as much water as you can. Also, if you can afford it, there's some of us that are going through it that can't afford us, or raising a family. I mean, there's so many of us that are going through it that can relate. Try to just do high vibrational foods if you can. On Monday, I'm starting a juicing fast, like just doing, I guess you could say, just juicing for a little while, and just vegetables for like 7 days. So, yeah. Okay, and I think that's it. Do you have anything else, Allison? Because I know you're in pain, and
I'm trying not to show it.
I could read you really well. You're going, get off.
We have started the Patreon. We'll make sure we include our Patreon site down below for Is This a Cosmic Joke?
Mm-hmm.
There's multiple tiers for people as well, and through that we kind of set it up that way so that no matter what your price range is, there's tons of free content, and you can always reach us through that as well. To make sure that we've gotten in. If you're not a Facebooker, if you're not a YouTuber, however it is you're coming across us, this is a different avenue outside of the regular social medias, so that you can get in contact with us. And we are here.
Yep.
We're all day by day going through this.
Yes. Like little portals. All right. Well, we love you guys. We are going to tune in. I'm waiting for her to feel 100% better, but at least we got one out today. So
yay! Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.